Ever get that feel, when things in your relationship just feel off?
Oh, absolutely.
Like maybe you and your partner are drifting apart.
Yeah.
Like you're not quite on the same page anymore.
Happens to the best of us, right?
It really does. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're taking a deep dive into the fragile thread of trust.
Oh, interesting.
A book that really digs into how trust, or rather the lack of it, can impact relationships.
I like it already.
And you know what? It's not just like some theoretical, exploration of trust. The book actually uses a story.
Okay.
Mia and Tom.
Okay.
This couple, they seem to have it all.
Right.
College sweethearts, they share passions, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But as their story unfolds, you start seeing these tiny cracks in what seem like a rock-solid foundation.
And that's where it gets really interesting, right? Because we often think of trust as this simple thing. You either have it or you don't.
Right.
But this book, it presents trust as something much more complex.
Okay.
It's like a structure that you
Yeah.
build with someone
Okay, I like that.
over time.
Okay.
It's not just about knowing someone's favorite color
Right.
or what they like to eat for breakfast.
Exactly.
It's about truly understanding their character,
Deeper.
their values, their dreams,
Okay.
their fears, even those deeply hidden ones they might not share with anyone else.
Wow. So it's more than just knowing the surface stuff. It's about really, truly getting them.
Exactly. And then it's about showing up for them consistently in ways that matter to them.
Showing up. I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the book actually quotes John Gottman, the relationship expert.
Of course.
He says, and I quote, "Trust is built in the smallest moments." So it's not always about the grand gestures, right?
No.
It's those everyday interactions, those little moments where we choose to really be present
Be present.
with our partners
Absolutely.
and to be attentive to their needs.
Yeah. And sometimes it's those small moments, those missed opportunities for connection that start to chip away at the foundation.
Oh, interesting.
Like with Mia and Tom, right? We start to see Mia feeling neglected when Tom constantly chooses work over their time together.
Makes sense. Work-life balance can be tough.
And then you see it from Tom's perspective, too. He's putting in the hours, making sacrifices, and he doesn't feel appreciated by Mia. So it's like a double-edged sword.
Cut.
Both feeling unseen in their own way.
Precisely. And I think that's something a lot of people listening can probably relate to, right? Those little moments when you feel kind of invisible or unheard in your relationship.
Totally. We've all been there, but it's those tiny things that can snowball, isn't it?
It's like those tiny cracks in a bridge. Individually, they seem insignificant,
Yeah.
but over time, they can weaken the entire structure.
And that's where those cracks can turn into like these major, major problems.
Very exciting.
And the book calls these sliding door moments,
Yeah.
those pivotal points where things could really go either way.
Like a fork in the road.
Exactly.
Right.
And you see this happen with Mia and Tom. They have this huge blow up,
Oh, no.
all about his crazy work hours. And Mia's trying to explain how she feels.
Right.
Lonely.
Right.
Disconnected.
Yeah.
And this could have been a turning point for them.
Totally. A moment to really connect and rebuild.
And this is the sliding door part.
Okay.
Tom, he's just completely stressed out. And he basically tells her that she's overreacting.
Oh, no. That's the worst.
He says something like, "I'm doing this for us."
Classic. But also not really addressing the issue at hand.
No, not at all. It's like he thinks that justifies everything,
Yeah.
and invalidates how she's feeling.
Completely. And what's so crucial here, and what Gottman's research really emphasizes, is that those are the moments that matter most.
Yeah.
When your partner is vulnerable,
Okay.
when they're expressing those difficult emotions, how you respond, it can either make or break things.
Wow. So how we show up in those moments is really crucial.
It's everything. And in this case, by dismissing Mia's feelings, Tom's not making her feel heard or validated.
Right.
He's basically shutting down any possibility of actually working through this together.
It's like he's closing the door on the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this one missed opportunity, it becomes a catalyst for a downward spiral in their relationship.
It's amazing how quickly things can go from seemingly fine to like headed for disaster.
It really is.
It's kind of like heartbreaking,
Oh, totally.
because you can see they still care,
Yeah.
but they're so stuck.
It's like they're just on completely different wavelengths, speaking different languages.
It's so true. And then things just keep kind of spiraling, don't they?
Yeah. And this is where the fragile thread of trust takes us deeper
Okay.
into what the author calls the 5 stages of relationship decline. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of a tough read at times.
Oh, I bet. Because it's so relatable, right? Like, we've all seen this play out.
Exactly. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion.
It really is. You know it's coming, but you can't look away. So, okay, walk me through these 5 stages. Like, what happens after that initial crack appears? Where do things go from there?
Well, picture this. You've got a house, right?
Okay.
And the roof, it's got a few leaks.
Not good.
At first, it's just a few drops here and there, no big deal, right?
Yeah.
But if you ignore those leaks, if you don't fix them,
Uh-oh. The damage just gets worse.
exactly, those leaks, they start to cause some serious damage.
Mm.
And that's basically the first stage. It's the accumulation of all those seemingly small issues that, if they're not addressed,
Right.
they could really start to eat away at the foundation of a relationship. Like we were talking about with Tom's work schedule and Mia feeling ignored.
It's like the straw that broke the camel's back,
Yeah.
you know? It's not just one single thing, it's the weight of it all.
You got it. And that takes us to stage 2, which honestly is where things often start to get messy.
Okay, how so?
Well, instead of facing those issues, those underlying problems, couples might start reacting in ways that aren't so healthy.
Oh, so they avoid the real issue.
Exactly. They start building walls instead of bridges,
Okay, so it's like instead of coming together, they're actually drifting further apart.
Exactly. And it just creates more distance.
So what does that look like, practically speaking? Like, give me some examples from Mia and Tom's story.
Sure. You start to see Mia withdraw emotionally.
She shuts down.
Exactly.
Right.
She's hurt. She feels ignored. So she starts to pull back.
Right.
And that just creates more space between her and Tom.
Yeah, and how does Tom react?
He does the opposite. He gets defensive. Whenever Mia tries to bring up anything serious or talk about her feelings,
He shuts her down.
pretty much, he either gets angry or just deflects the conversation completely.
I know that pattern. It's like a vicious cycle.
The worst. And the saddest part is they both end up feeling even more alone.
Because they're not actually communicating.
Exactly. And that takes us to stage 3, where all those unexpressed, unaddressed negative emotions,
They just keep building.
they become totally overwhelming. Mia, she's drowning in loneliness.
It's like she's invisible.
Totally. And Tom, he's consumed by guilt, frustration. He feels like he's failing.
So they're both drowning in their own way.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And because they haven't dealt with the root of the problem,
Right, those underlying issues.
it all just explodes in stage 4.
Uh-oh. This doesn't sound good.
It's not. This is when all those old wounds, those resentments they've been carrying around,
They come back.
with a vengeance. Past hurts, past disappointments, everything they haven't dealt with.
It all resurfaces.
All of it. And suddenly, it's not just about Tom working late or Mia feeling unheard.
It's about their entire history together.
Exactly. And that, unfortunately, leads to stage 5, the final stage.
The point of no return.
Pretty much. Their entire relationship narrative becomes defined by negativity. All those beautiful dreams they had, the hopes they built together,
They start to crumble.
it all starts to fall apart. They question everything, their compatibility, their history, even whether they were ever truly in love to begin with.
Wow, talk about a worst case scenario.
Right. The thing is, this isn't just about Mia and Tom. Their story, it illustrates these really common, really universal patterns.
So this is something we should all pay attention to, even if our relationships aren't at this point.
Exactly. It's a cautionary tale for all of us.
So it's not just about fixing the surface level stuff. They're addressing the root cause.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful things they learn is how to communicate differently. Like, remember how Mia would blame Tom? You're always working. You never make time for me.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into that trap.
Right. But the therapist helps her to understand, like, the power of expressing her needs directly.
Okay, so instead of saying, you're always working late, what does she say? Give me an example.
So instead of attacking, she learns to say something like, I feel lonely when you work late, and I need you to make more of an effort to connect with me.
Statements. Powerful stuff.
It makes all the difference because it invites Tom to actually listen instead of getting defensive.
So how does Tom respond to this new approach? Is he receptive to it?
It's amazing, actually. This shift in language allows him to actually hear her.
Oh, wow.
Instead of feeling attacked, he can actually listen to what she's saying and acknowledge her feelings without getting defensive.
Wow. That's huge.
It's huge. He starts to realize, like, the impact his actions have had on her And that's like a major, major turning point in their journey back to each other.
So it's not about magically erasing all the hurt.
Yeah,
It's about rebuilding that connection.
exactly. It's like slowly, meticulously repairing those cracks in a bridge, brick by brick.
So they prove that even after everything, there's still a way back.
And that's what's so powerful about their story.
Yeah.
It reminds us that trust is dynamic. It's not something you have or you don't.
Right.
It's an ongoing process, building it, nurturing it, choosing each other, even when it's hard.
It's like this living, breathing thing. Needs attention, care, especially when things get tough.
Exactly.
This book, The Fragile Thread of Trust, it really drives home that message, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's never too late to start rebuilding trust. But it takes effort from both people.
So true. What's one thing, one small action our listeners could take today to strengthen trust in their own relationships?
You know, it could be something as simple as really listening when your partner is talking.
Just be present.
Exactly. Put down your phone, make eye contact, show them you're really listening, that you care about what they have to say, that you're present.
Those small gestures, they can speak volumes.
Well, absolutely.
So to everyone listening, if you're feeling a little disconnected in one of your relationships, remember Mia and Tom. Even when it feels like you're miles apart, it's never too late to start rebuilding that bridge. Honest communication, genuine effort, and that willingness to try to see things from each other's perspective, it can make all the difference. And that's our deep dive for today. We hope you enjoyed it.